Hello everyone, welcome back to Believer CS Academy, Bengaluru. This is the daily news analysis session. In today's session, I have picked up some 6 to 7 articles from various newspapers such as The Hindu, Down to Earth and Indian Express, which I found to be important from UPSC perspective. So the first article is, should packaged food content be labeled? This article was present in The Hindu text and context. So it talks about differences in quality of food items, packaged food items in low and middle income countries and high income countries. So we will see what is there in the article. So in a recent report by the Access to Nutrition Initiative, ATNI initiative, highlights that there are disparities in the healthiness of the food and beverage products sold in low and middle income countries compared to the high income countries. Okay, there is a disparity in healthiness of the food which is sold in low and middle income as well as and compared to high income countries. This brings attention to the importance of labeling packaged food to guide the consumers towards healthier choices. So we will see what are the discrepancies and what are the recommendations provided by the report. So key findings of the report. The report had a health star rating system. It rated the products based on certain parameters. The report analyzed over 52,000 products from major brands such as Nestle, PepsiCo, Unilever and others. Products were rated out of 5 stars with the scores of about 3.5 considerable healthy, and average scores it got is, in low and middle income countries the average score was merely 1.8 out of 5, whereas in high income countries merely 2.3.5, but still better compared to the low and middle income countries. And there were disparities in nutrition. Okay, that is, there are fewer affordable healthy options in low and middle income countries compared to high income countries, and micronutrient information was less frequently provided for the products in low and middle income countries. Okay, so if this is the product, on back of the product there will be a list given. In that list it provides the minerals, okay, sugar content, calories content and protein content, etc is provided, and this information or micronutrient information was not provided frequently in low income countries, whereas it was frequent in high income countries. And historical patterns, it also talks about previous reports revealed that there are certain similar issues. For instance, Nestle's baby food, okay, Nestle's baby food, it was produced in India, Africa and Europe, whereas in Europe it had lesser sugar content, but whereas in India and Africa it contained higher sugar content. So it resulted in government scrutiny and criticisms of Nestle. So if there is discrepancies, what is the significance of these discrepancies and this report finding for India? So in India, it is presently going through a health crisis, that is, non-communicable diseases are on the rise. India faces a significant burden with over 10 crore people suffering from diabetes and high obesity rates. So in such conditions, what we need is packaged foods with proper labeling is required. And undernutrition and micronutrient deficiencies were very rampant in India, that is coexisting challenges due to unhealthy diets and economic disparities. Okay, and then dietary patterns in India, there is a rising consumption of processed foods which are rich in sugar and fat. Over 56% of India's disease burden is linked to the unhealthy diets, according to Indian Council of Medical Research report in 2023. And there is also affordability gap in India, that is, over half of the Indians cannot afford a healthy diet. What is healthy diet? Which contains all the necessary nutrients required for a human body, such as carbohydrates, proteins, minerals, vitamins, etc. But to avail these kind of nutrients in a proper diet, it is very costly for a middle income country like India, and that too in a middle income country like India, there is a disparity within different sections of the society. Household spending on the processed item is increased in India, and therefore there is a need for front of pack labeling in India. Okay, so you'll understand what is the importance of front of pack labeling. In global standards, countries like Chile and Mexico successfully reduced the consumption of sugary beverages after mandatory front of pack labeling. If there is front of pack labeling where it shows the content of sugar, then people will get to know about the content of sugar and they will try to avoid it. If it is at the back of the label, okay, if it is at the back, the label is at the back of the product, then most of the times what happens is people tend to ignore that, ignore the quantities of sugar and other things. So it should be provided at the front of the label. So India's current affairs, India's part of World Health Assembly resolutions advocating for protecting children from junk food marketing. Policies like National Multi-Sectoral Action Plan from 2017 to 2022 aimed at tackling NCDs, that is non-communicable diseases, have seen limited success in implementing label regulations. So what are the challenges? The challenges is that in 2022 draft notification for front of the pack labeling is yet to make any progress. There are notifications in 2022 only. For almost 2 years down the line, there have been no progress made here. And voluntary efforts by the food and beverage companies have been insufficient. Because why would they go for voluntary efforts by the food and beverage companies? Because they don't want to lose their customer base or consumer base. Okay, if they are putting a front of the package labeling, and in the front of the pack labeling, if there is any disclaimer about this content, this percent of sugar and etc., most of the people tend to avoid those kind of beverages. So these kind of companies tend to avoid this kind of front of the pack labeling so that they don't lose the market. And then recommendations of the report. So a report says that there should be mandatory regulations, meaning stronger policies for clear labeling of sugar, salt and fat content on the packaging. This will result in informed decision making. Informed decision of who? Of consumers. Okay, and then it also aims at creating the public awareness. There should be campaigns to educate consumers on the interpreting nutritional labels. And then affordable healthy options, incentivizing the companies to offer nutritious products at accessible prices for low income groups. And then there should be government action which is aimed at strengthening the enforcement and adopting global best practices for food labeling. Okay, all these actions are required in order to improve the healthy diets in the middle and low income countries. So in India, there is a Indian nutritional rating system. What is it? INR rating system rates the overall nutritional profile of a packaged food by assessing it a rating of from half star least healthy to 5 stars healthiest. So there is a rating system already present in India. Most stars indicate the food product is better positioned to provide for a daily human need of the nutrients. But many of the Indians, many of the people who consume food and beverages don't have any idea about this INR rating system. Any product, there will be stars provided based on the healthiness of the product. Okay, so as per the notification, solid food with a score of more than 25 will be given 0.5 stars, and those with a score less than -11 will be given 5 stars. To generate star rating logo for the product, food businesses have to submit the nutritional profiles of the products to the concerned FSSAI portal. FSSAI. Okay, FSSAI. What is? Okay, this is about article. Now we will understand the background for this article, that is about FSSAI. What is FSSAI? It is a Food Safety and Standard Authority of India. It is a statutory body under the Food Safety and Standards Act of 2006. It comes under Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Objective is to lay down science-based standards for articles of food, regulate manufacture, storage, distribution, import and sale of food, to facilitate safety of the food, and the functions include forming or framing regulations to lay down standards and guidelines in relation to articles of food, laying down mechanisms or guidelines for accreditation of certification bodies engaged in certification of food safety management system. Okay, it lays down mechanisms and guidelines for accreditation of certification bodies. Okay, not all the food products are certified by FSSAI itself. There are certain certification bodies which are accredited by FSSAI. Those are the companies, those are the bodies, which certify the food product. The collect and collect data regarding the food consumption, incidence and prevalence of biological risk, contaminants and food products, etc., etc. These are the functions of FSSAI or FSSAI, and the composition of FSSAI is comprises of chairperson and 22 members, out of which 1/3 should be women, 1/3 to be women. The chairperson of FSSAI is appointed by central government. This is important. Many of the times UPSC plays a trick here. Appointed by president, governor, prime minister, etc., etc. But here is appointed by central government. Okay, at the state level, FSSAI appoints food safety authorities at the state level. Okay, a primary responsibility for enforcement is largely with the state food safety commissioners. Okay, majorly FSSAI deals with national level of policy making, whereas the state level, these are the functions are dealt by state food safety security commissioners. So this is about the particular article. Moving on to the next one, easing bail norms for under trial prisoners. There was an article about under trial prisoners in both Indian Express as well as the Hindu, so I have taken combined articles. So in this article it talks about recently Union Ministry emphasized the need to release under trial prisoners who have spent more than 1/3 of maximum prescribed sentence for their accused crime before the Constitution Day, that is November 26. Okay, so they have emphasized the under trial prisoners who are in the prison and they are under trial, if they have completed 1/3 of their punishment time, 1/3 of their sentence, then they should be released. Then they should they should be released. Okay, so that it can reduce the crowding of prisons, overcrowding of prisons. So this directive aligns with newly introduced provisions of Bharatiya Nagarika Suraksha Sanhita 2023. Okay, there is a provision in BNSS which is similar to the guidelines given by Union Home Ministry. What is BNSS? It is a successor to CRPC, that is Criminal Procedure Code. What is Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, BNS? It is the precursor or successor to Indian Penal Code. There is another one, Bharatiya Saksha Abhiniyam. What is this? This is the successor to Indian Evidence Act. So these three codes replace the age-old RPC, CRPC, IPC and Indian Evidence Act. Okay, these are included recently in 2023. So now you will understand which provisions of BNSS talks about releasing of under trial prisoners. So that the section which talks about releasing of under trial prisoners is section number 479 of BNSS. This section says that it revises bail norms to address the prolonged detention of under trial prisoners, particularly first time offenders. Okay, so there are prisoners who are under trial, but there are certain people who are under trial but they are put into the prison, and there will be long time in addressing their bail also, like especially for first time offenders. It says that it provides certain bail norms, it provides certain certain incentives to these kind of prisoners. The general rule for normally bail is the under trials accused of non-capital offences. Okay, what is non-capital offences? Those that are not punishable by death or life imprisonment are called as non-capital punishment offences, or eligible for bail if they have served half of the maximum sentence for the offence. Okay, so BNSS talks about half of the sentence, whereas the present Union Home Ministry's directive talks about 1/3 of the sentence. So these are similar to each other. The provisions build on section 436A of the CRPC. Previously it was under 436A of CRPC, which allowed release after serving half of the sentence. Okay, and then relaxed standards for the first time offenders. For first time offenders, this is the general standard for bail granting and release of prisoners. But for the relaxed first time offenders, the standards have been relaxed. Those include first time offenders defined as the individuals without prior convictions must be released on a bond after serving 1/3 of the maximum prescribed sentence. Okay, this is similar to the directive given by Union Home Ministry. There are certain exceptions, that is, the relaxed provisions are not applicable to cases involving multiple offences or pending investigations for other crimes. Okay, it is available or applicable only to the first time offenders, meaning they do not have any prior convictions. And what are the steps taken by Supreme Court to ensure the implementation of section 479 of BNSS is retrospective application. That is, in August 2024, Supreme Court ordered that section 479 applies retrospectively to the cases before the BNSS came into effect on July 1, 2024. What is retrospective? If a law is implemented at a certain date, okay, if its implementation, even the if law is implemented on a certain date, if it can be implemented or if it can be applied to a date before it was implemented, then it is called as retrospective implementation. Okay, here the BNSS came into effect on July 1, 2024, but this relaxation norm, that is 1/3 of the relaxation norm, can be applied to prisoners or undertaker prisoners who were arrested before, say, before 2024 on 2023 July 1. Okay, so this is retrospective application. Implementation measures include jail superintendents are required to identify eligible prisoners and report to courts for the release, and the state governments and union territories were directed to submit detailed affidavits on eligible under trials and their release status. So recent developments include, as of October 24, only 19 of the 36 states and union territories complied with the court's directives. So there is a delay in the completion of directives, and on November 19, court reiterated the directive prioritizing the identification of women under trial for bail eligibility. So these are certain developments. And yesterday and day before yesterday, we already discussed about overcrowding of prison with 131% capacity. So other things have been discussed. If you want to learn about prison reforms committees and other issues related to prison, you can listen to the topic of the day discussion in yesterday's class. Now moving on to the third article, it talks about Prime Minister Modi's visit to Guyana. There is an article in the Hindu. It says that Prime Minister proposes 7 key pillars to strengthen ties between India and CARICOM. So we will see what is CARICOM, what is the significance of Guyana for India, and other things. Before understanding CARICOM, we will understand where Guyana is situated. Okay, so this is the Guyana, Southern America. This is Brazil. Here Suriname is there. Here Venezuela. Next to Venezuela there is a Guyana. Okay, this is one of the very few states or very few countries which has a Hindu majority population outside of India and Nepal. Okay, so this is Caribbean Guyana, and this is the Caribbean Sea, and all the countries belonging to this region are called as Caribbean countries, and the countries belonging to this region have formed a what is it? Okay, have formed a grouping called as CARICOM. So you'll understand what is grouping or what is CARICOM. CARICOM is a regional organization established in 1973 under the Treaty of Chaguaramas. Okay, Chaguaramas. It aims to promote economic integration, shared foreign policy, functional cooperation among member states while ensuring that sustainable development of the region. It stretching from Bahamas in the north to Suriname and Guyana in the south. South America, CARICOM comprises states that are considered to be developing countries in the Caribbean region, except Belize in the Central America, and Guyana and Suriname in the South America. All the members and associate members are island states. Okay, only these two countries are non-island states. Okay, Belize is in Central America, and Guyana and Suriname are in Southern America. The members of the members of CARICOM include 22 countries, 15 member states, and 6 associate members. So pillars of integration are, okay, like as for any grouping, this also certain pillars, and the pillars include economic integration, foreign policy coordination, and human and social development. In economic integration, focuses on creating a single market and economy through Caribbean single market and economy, similar to European Union. Okay, and foreign policy ensures that member states speak with one voice on the international issues. Human and development promotes education, health, youth development, etc., etc. And then in security cooperation aims to address common challenges like crime, border security, and disaster management. This is about CARICOM. Now you will understand why Prime Minister Modi visited Guyana. Okay, a head of the country visiting a state like Guyana, it raises questions about the reasons behind visiting the country. Okay, so the reasons are strengthening historical and cultural ties. Okay, Guyana is home to one of the oldest Indian diaspora and has a population of approximately 3,20,000 people of Indian origin, constituting 43.5% of country's total population. Okay, you can ask me, how did the Hindus or how did the Indians from here ended up in Guyana? For this, you should again go back to the colonial era. In colonial era, India was under British. Okay, it was called as British India, and Caribbean region. Okay, Caribbean region and Caribbean islands were also under the influence of British. They were also considered as British territories. Okay, British territories, and there was a form of working called as indentured laborers, system called as indentured laborers. These are the laborers who belong to a particular country, but they are made to work in another country or another British presidency or another British territory. So many of the Indians who were indentured laborers, they were taken away from India to work in the cotton fields of Caribbean states, and one of the cotton fields of Caribbean state was Guyana, which was previously known as British Guyana. Okay, it was also known as British Guyana. So because of this, many of the Indians have settled in Guyana. That is why there is a strong Indian diaspora. Even in Caribbean islands, you have a strong presence of Indian diaspora. If you see West Indian teams, there are many of the cricketers in West Indian teams belong to Indian diaspora, such as Shiv Narayan Chandrapal, Ram Saravana, and other people. Okay, this is because of historical relations. And energy cooperation, energy security, and hydrocarbon cooperation. Guyana is emerging as a global oil hub, expected to surpass Venezuela in oil production by 2026. This is also another important reason behind India's growing interaction with Guyana. With a massive reserves and rapid GDP growth driven by oil discoveries, Guyana offers India crucial opportunity to diversify its crucial crude oil imports. Okay, there is a region called as Essequibo. Okay, there is a region called as Essequibo between Venezuela and Guyana, which has discovered oil reserves which are many more times present in Middle East or Venezuela. So because of this region, there is a fight going on between Venezuela and Guyana, but it originally belongs to Guyana. Since the discovery of this one, Guyana's GDP has been growing at a very rapid pace. And then expanding defense partnership, India strengthened Guyana's defense capabilities by supporting or supplying Dornier 228 planes and offering line of credit for the purchase of patrol vehicles, radars, etc. Okay, this marks India's first ever defense line of credit with the Caribbean nation. This is very significant. Guyana's growing defense market aligns with India's strategic and economic interests. And then other issues include enhancing trade and economic cooperation. India is partnering with Guyana in diverse sectors such as IT, agriculture, biofuels, pharmaceutical, etc. Building a critical infrastructure like National Cricket Stadium and traffic lights. Okay, Indians and their love for cricket. it surpasses borders also. So there also in Guyana there are people who love cricket, so that is why they have built a national cricket stadium. And supporting projects such as regional hospital upgrades, road linkages and ocean going vessels. Promoting bilateral trade, which remains low but shows a positive growth potential. It is low because of the distance between India and Guyana. There is a very long distance between India and Guyana. India is in present in southern part of Asia, whereas Guyana is in South America. So there is a long gap. That is why there is a bilateral, like less bilateralization. But with the improving conditions and coordination between those countries, this can be improved again. And then competing with China's influence. Guyana's strategic location and rich resources have attracted significant Chinese investments in infrastructure under the Belt and Road Initiative. So wherever there is interest of India, there will be an interest of China even before India's presence there. So here also there is a conflict between India and China. India is countering this influence by committing to infrastructure projects such as 100 million road projection in Georgetown, which is a town in Guyana. These are certain areas of, and other thing, unlike China, India's approach focuses on local engagement and long-term partnership, which are better received by Guyana's population. Okay, China follows a policy called as checkbook policy. Checkbook policy. It provides loans at a high rate and then traps those countries under debt trap. When the country fails to repay the debt, what it does is it asks the country to like lease a land of the country, lease land, okay, or allow Chinese troops to station in the particular country. The best example for this one is Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has has given Hermantotta port for 90 years lease to China. This was because of debt trap policies. Whereas India doesn't go for debt trap policy. It focuses on cultural relations and it focuses on building soft power. And then global south and strategic alliances. PM Modi's visit reflects India's broader strategy to enhance ties with smaller countries as part of global south agenda. So Guyana's economic potential driven by oil wealth makes it a pivotal partner in this vision. So it being a part of voice of global south, so Guyana plays a very important for India's interaction in growing as a leader of global south. Okay, this is about this article. So highlights of Prime Minister Modi's visit. Prime Minister Modi was conferred with the Order of Excellence of Guyana, which is the highest national award of Guyana. So wherever Modi ji is visiting these days, he is getting this highest award of the particular country. That is where he is perceived in the international forum. And agreements across various sectors such as health and pharmaceuticals, where there are memorandum of understandings for affordable medicines, in hydrocarbons, cooperation in crude sourcing, natural gas, infrastructure development, etc. In agriculture, joint activities and research and development, exchange of information, and in digital information transformation, capacity building, training, exchange of best practices, and in banking and payment, deployment of India's UPI-like payment system in Guyana. Okay, India's UPI payment system has been a revolution in in the field of digital payment, and it has been followed by many countries. So it acts as a inspiration for implementing the similar payment system in Guyana also. And in defense and capacity building, India is committed to skill development and capacity building in Guyana, especially in defense. And Prime Minister Modi has emphasized cooperation in infrastructure, energy and food security, etc., etc. And also there have been collaboration in new areas such as education and human capital development, technology transfer and food processing, and Ayurvedic medicine and vaccine manufacturing. So this is a way of developing soft power. Okay, Ayurveda, yoga, etc. are synonymous with the India. Okay, are synonymous with India. So whenever India is trying to improve Ayurvedic or yoga or introduce those things in other countries, it is one way improving its soft power in other countries. And symbolic initiative, Prime Minister Modi participated in the symbolic planting of sapling under the Ek Ped Mein Ek Naam in Guyana. So these are about Guyana and India relations. It is very important. Maybe there can be a question in UPSC mains coming year about India and Guyana or India and South America. Next, there is an article in Press Information Bureau, that is Ministry of Jal Shakti launches Bhu Neer portal for groundwater withdrawal permits. Okay, It was digitally launched by Minister of Jal Shakti during the India Water Week 2024. So presently India Water Week is going on. So what is Bhuvanir portal? It is a centralized platform for managing groundwater withdrawal permits. It was developed by Central Groundwater Authority, that is CGWA, in collaboration with National Informatics Center. So it aims to regulate groundwater resources across India efficiently and sustainably, ensuring transparency and sustainability in groundwater usage. About what is Central Groundwater Authority? It is constituted under Environment Protection Act, so it is a statutory body. It has a mandate of regulating groundwater development and management in the country. It issues advisories, public notices, and grants no objection certificate for the groundwater withdrawal. Okay, so what are the features of Bhuvanir portal? That is, it has a centralized database and then user-friendly interface, that is simplified features such as PAN-based single ID system, no objection certificates with the QR code, and streamlined process flow for project proponents. And it also has improved version, more advanced than this predecessor, NOCAP. It offers better functionality and ease of use. And groundwater compliance, the centralized access to information on groundwater regulations, compliance measures, and sustainable practices are provided in the app also. The implementation, so the portal is live and publicly accessible for groundwater withdrawal queries, status tracking, and payment and statutory charges. So it is available for all in public access. All project proponents and the general public can use the portal for the groundwater related needs. This is about Bhuvanir portal. Okay, you should understand which ministry and who developed it and what is its use, whether it is open for all the public or not. And then there is a article in Indian Express about Chancay port project in Peru. Okay, what is Chancay port project in Peru? We will understand this one. So Chancay port project, the news is that Chancay port was inaugurated in Peru by Chinese President Xi Jinping. Okay, just see, where is China, where is Peru? So from Shanghai to Peru, they are developing a new route so that the distance or so that the trade between the two countries enhances more. So we will understand what is Chancay port project. So Chancay port project was inaugurated as part of new land and sea corridor linking in China with Latin America. So now China, so under Belt and Road Initiative, China focused on Asia, Africa, Europe, and now it is focusing on South America and Latin America. And it is funded under the Belt and Road Initiative with a total cost of 3.6 billion. So it is making use of its huge GDP potential and GDP growth, and the port can accommodate vessels up to 1,820 foot equivalent units, largest shipping vessels in the world. Ownership, the 60% of the port is owned by China's Ocean Shipping Group company, when the remaining stake is held by a local company. So it is expected to generate 4 billion annually for Peru, equivalent of 1.8% of the country's GDP. So it is very important from Peru's perspective as well. Key exports, the port will handle exports like copper, blueberries, soybeans, lithium from lithium triangle, that is BAC or EBC, Argentina, Bolivia, and Chile. So this is about Chancay port, and now we will understand the geostrategic location of this one. So the geostrategic location is, it is very significant because of its proximity to Lima. So located at 78 kilometers north of Lima. Lima is the capital of Peru. The small fishing town of Chancay. Natural deep water port. Chancay is a natural deep water port, ideal for accommodating large vessels. And trade gateway, positioned strategically to facilitate trade between South America, Asia, reducing the transit time for goods between those two countries. Alternative to North America, it eliminates the need for Latin American exports to transit through ports in North America, offering more direct route to Asia. Okay, previously for the exports and imports of other various goods, Latin American countries depended more or heavily on North American countries such as Mexico, USA, and Canada. Now they can look for an alternative in the Chancay port of Peru. So why is it a concern for USA? Okay, because whenever there is a influence of China in South America, there is bound to be concern between, like in USA, because it is the field area of USA. USA considers Pacific and South like Americas as its home turf. So now China, after moving from Asia, Europe and Africa, now it is focusing on southern South America. It is directly challenging the hegemony of America in America's home turf. So China's influence in Latin America. China has traditionally, USA has traditionally viewed Latin America as its sphere of influence. As I said you, the Shanghai port increases China's economic and geopolitical presence in this region. So it is a threat to USA. A strategic gateway for China. The port strengthens China's access to critical resources in the South America, which includes lithium and copper, raising the concerns about China's dominance in India in this region. US's trade disruption. The port reduces transportation time between Latin America and Asia, which could disrupt the existing US trade routes and diminish its role as a trade facilitator. Okay, so previously they were dependent on USA ports. Now because of this new route, they will be non-dependent on USA, which will reduce the revenue for USA also. So this is why USA sees this project as a threat to its sovereignty. So see, like the project New Shanghai port may reduce Brazil-China route to 10 days. The current route takes up to 35 days. New transit route will reduce the cost. So current route was, first you have to go from Shanghai to Los Angeles, USA, and from there to Manzanillo, Mexico, from there to passing the Panama Canal, and then to Manaus, which is present in Brazil. But now from Shanghai to directly to Shanghai port, from there to rail or road route to Brazil. So it will reduce the transit days by 10 days, which is very important for like global trade, and which is significant for China's growth in this region. Okay, this is about Shanghai port. And the last article for today is Coffee Board devises roadmap with eye on doubling the production, says production exports. There is an article in Indian Express. It talks about improving the or doubling the exports. So Coffee Board of India has launched 10-year roadmap with the goal to double the country's coffee production and coffee exports by 2034. So we'll understand what is Coffee Board and what is the significance of coffee cultivation in India. So first you'll understand geographical aspect of coffee cultivation. So coffee cultivation in India began with the planting of 7 seeds of coffee during the 1600 AD by Saint Bababudan in the courtyard of Hermitage, Chikmagaluru in Karnataka. There is a Bababudangiri which is present in Karnataka, Chikmagaluru. There the coffee cultivation began, which was started by Bababudan in around 1600s AD. So the commercial plantations of coffee started in the 18th century under British entrepreneurship. Today, India is among the top 10 coffee producing countries with about 3% of global output. And in the states of India, Karnataka stands at top in the production of coffee. Okay, and agroclimatic conditions needed for coffee is has a unique position as it's shade grown and grown at elevations, while other major producing countries grow coffee at flatlands. In India, it is morely grown on the hill slopes. It requires shade grown and grown at elevations. It is a tropical plant which is also grown at a semi-tropical climate. So it requires 16 to 28 degrees Celsius, 100 to 150 to 250 centimeter rainfall, and well-drained slopes are essential for its growth. Lower temperature, frost, and dry weather for a long time and harsh sunshine are harmful for its plant. Okay, it is a tropical plant, so it requires ample sunlight as well as ample rainfall. Coffee plants grow better in the laterite soils of Karnataka in India. Major varieties include Arabica, Robusta, and Liberica. Okay, so Arabica has the highest market value than Robusta coffee due to its mild aroma flavor. Okay, and then about Coffee Board of India, the recently in 2022 prelims there is a question about Coffee Board of India. So these kind of boards are like constitution, non-constitution, statutory bodies become very important. So about Coffee Board, it was managed by Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and it was established in 1942 with a headquarters in Bengaluru. Structural mandate: enhancement of production, productivity and quality, export promotion for achieving higher value return for Indian coffee, obviously, and it also aims to supporting the development of domestic market. And the functions of Coffee Board is until 1995 marketed the pooled supply of coffee. Post 1995, coffee marketing became a private sector activity due to the economic liberalization. Initially, coffee production, export, everything was dealt by this coffee board only. It was under the government influence directly. But since the post liberalization, it has been provided to private entities. So it comprises 33 members, including chairman appointed by the government of India, that is central government. That is very important. Coffee industry in India, exports or imports, that is statistics. Karnataka is the largest producer, followed by Kerala and Tamil Nadu. India exports over 70% of its coffee production. India is the 8th largest coffee exporter according to FAO. Coffee exports peak from March to June, that is the best season for growth of coffee. Okay, this is about today's news analysis. If you like the session, if you feel that you gained something out of this session, please like, comment and share with your friends. If you have any other suggestions for me, or if you have any video ideas which you want to do in the coming classes, do write in the comment box also. With this, I will end the video. Jai Hind, Jai Karnataka.